Hello everybody. You've seen the thumbnail, you know what I'm here to talk about. Yes, it's the Superman Adventures Compendium. A massive 920 odd, about 930 pages of DC Animated Universe tie-in comic books. There is one issue of Batman Adventures, you'll see it listed there. In fact, on the back page here, they show you everything that's in the collection. Batman Adventures 25, Superman Adventures 1 through 28, Superman Adventures Annual 1, Superman vs. Lobo Misery in Space, Superman Adventures Titus Game Edition 0, and Superman and Batman Adventures World's Finest number 1, which is an adaptation of the 3-part World's Finest story in Superman the Animated Series. And those last two, the Titus Game Edition and World's Finest, I'm certain that the Titus Game Edition has never been reprinted before. I don't think World's Finest has either, although if I'm wrong, someone can correct me. But this series was very strong. Personally, I preferred Batman Adventures. I thought it was just generally better, but that doesn't mean this isn't good. In particular, there's some very early Mark Millar Superman work here. Superman comics written by Mark Millar will also include things like Red Sun, but he's probably most well known for his work at Marvel, like on Civil War and The Ultimates and so on. But he did some very fun stories like this one. I've just flipped through it and picked one at random. Superman Adventures 25, which is a crossover with the characters of Batman, but it's mostly Batgirl because Bruce Wayne has been kidnapped by a Mad Hatter. And yeah, this was a really fun story. And oh, look at that, there's some Nightwing and Killer Croc as well. How about that? I always like the Batman crossover stories. Nighttime's an excellent episode. But yeah, it's mostly about Superman and Batgirl teaming up to rescue Bruce Wayne and defeat the Mad Hatter. A really good story, actually. So well done, Mark Millar, on something you wrote nearly 30 years ago. But yeah, there are plenty of great stories in here as well. Like, is this the one? Is this the one I was thinking of? Yes, this one with the Parasite here as well, where Parasite gets Superman's powers, and all he really wants to do is kind of meet up with his old girlfriend, Rain Song, who you might remember from the episode with Dr. Fate, as like the mystic lady who wanted to get her Wicca cell together and chant to help fight off. What was the name of the demon in that episode? The name escapes me. I want to say Null, but that's not it. That's the guy from the Venom series, isn't it? Anyway, that's not really important. But that was another good story. I know a lot of people say that these comic books don't count as part of the DC Animated Universe because of things like, I'll just show you Batman Adventures number 25. You have Superman here in an off-model look, shall we say, because he's got his mullet. And, you know, there's Superman and Batman working together when Batman was wearing his old costume. And we'll also see, if I go back a page, you'll probably see him. Yeah, there's Lex Luthor as well, and he's got red hair and a beard. Again, that's how he looked in the mainline comics at the time. But I think if you can kind of squint past those details, this story fits in quite nicely. It just has to take place after World's Finest. Now, this is where Superman Adventures begins, and Bruce Timm drew a wraparound cover for the first issue, which you can see here. It's got all of the heavy hitters. We've got Lex Luthor, Toyman, Brainiac, Parasite, Metallo, Darkseid, Bizarro, Jax-O, and Marla. I think that might be Bruno Mannheim, based on the hair. The jacket's not the right colour, but I'm just going to say that it's Bruno Mannheim until Bruce Timm tells me I'm wrong again. And this issue was written by Paul Dini, so in my mind, that gives the whole series like a stamp of approval. They're involved, saying yes, this is related to our universe. Now, as I was saying earlier, not everything fits in perfectly, but if you generally just kind of squint, most of it fits okay. Scott McCloud wrote most of the other issues, or at least, I don't know. He wrote a good chunk of them, and they're all really nice. For the most part, done in one stories. There are a couple of issues in here that this one, for instance, the first comic book appearance of Livewire, it's actually a little bit pricier than most of the other issues that came before it, because this series had a comparatively low print run, so that means there weren't as many copies as, say, I don't know, a regular issue of Batman. And also because a lot of these tie-in comics were aimed towards children. Children don't always necessarily look after their possessions. I know I did, but you know, people always felt like that was weird, that I protected my comics. So now you've got a nice reprint of this comic. It's readily available now, and I imagine that some of these will turn up on the DC Infinite app in the near future, probably about a month from now. That's generally how it tends to work, at least with the Ultra tier. But yeah, there's another relatively expensive book in here as well, with Supergirl. I mentioned that there's like 900 pages of wonderful Superman comics here. Here we go. It's this one. As well as being the first time, you know, the Bruce Timm style Supergirl was featured in comic books, they also introduced the DC Animated Universe version of General Zod here. And he is basically a carbon copy of Jack Zur, or I should say that Jack Zur really is a copy of the comic book General Zod. But the difference here is he's Argonian, and in these comics they say that Argonians aren't affected by kryptonite. You can see here there's a picture of Supergirl holding it, and you know, you might point to that and go, aha, this is not canon. But it was written by Evan Dorkin and Sarah Dyer, and they were writers on the show. I think they literally wrote the Little Girl Lost, which was the two-part episode that introduced Supergirl. Maybe this was a detail that they originally intended to have, and then it just kind of faded away over time as DC got less fussy about there only being one Kryptonian in Superman. So I wouldn't completely discount it. But yeah, anyway, I mean, this is basically it. Yeah, it has a lot of great comics in here. Really enjoyable stuff. And if you find yourself pining for the DC Animated Universe and you've never read these, then hey, I recommend picking it up. And cheap plug, you can use one of my affiliate links. I've got affiliate links with Amazon globally. So, you know, wherever you are, if you fancy getting it from Amazon, fantastic, you can use my link. They'll give me a little tiny kickback, not as much as you might think. But hey, beggars cannot be choosers, right? I've also, for UK viewers, I have an affiliate link with Forbidden Planet as well. I think Forbidden Planet is slightly cheaper than Amazon, but you have to pay postage, which might make it less of a great deal. But yeah, anyway, this is basically it. This is the thing. Let's end it by looking at some of the little bonus gallery of images they included at the end here. So there's two illustrations, one by Dave Gibbons of Watchmen fame. He drew this for Batman Adventures 25. It had a whole bunch of pin-ups in the animated series style by more famous comic book figures, like Mike Mignola did a picture of Batman and Mr. Freeze. Kelly Jones did one of Batman bursting out of a cake in front of like Joker, Riddler, and the Penguin. And here we have the cover for the original collection of Superman Adventures of the Man of Steel, as they called it. I think it had the first 6 issues. It was the trade paperback, and Bruce Timm painted this. And then, yeah, that's it, basically. And on the back here, you can see that those are all the covers. And they very expressly state that this is the first of 2 volumes based on the hit cartoon tie-in comics. So we've got the second volume to look forward to. That one will have, presumably, issue 29 through to, I think it was 66 that it ended on. It might have been 65. So you'll have 2 quite hefty Superman Adventures collections right there for you. Now all we need is for DC to do a Gotham Adventures collection with, what, that was 60 issues, so I suppose they could do 2 compendiums. They could do 2 omnibuses, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. They could also release the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited tie-in comics, but I am less keen on those as I am Gotham Adventures. Anyway, I've talked long enough. This video is kind of long and rambling. I hope you've enjoyed it though, and if you do decide to pick this up, let me know in the comments and tell me which story in here you like the most. But yeah, anyway, that's the end. Take care everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.